This rose bush didn't bloom because of a $40 bottle of synthetic fertilizer. These tomatoes didn't set fruit on every single cluster because of luck or expensive soil additives. In fact, the secret to this growth, the kind of growth that makes neighbors stop and ask what you're using, is currently sitting in your kitchen trash can. Most people see a banana peel as waste. I see it as a high-potassium, mineral-dense biological activator. Today, I'm going to show you why most gardeners who use banana peels are doing it completely wrong and actually causing mold. And I'm going to teach you the dual extraction method that delivers visible results in exactly 7 days. If you want to stop paying for nutrients and start reclaiming them, stay with me. The fermented mineral technique, the one that professional organic growers keep to themselves, is coming up shortly. Welcome back to Evergreen Garden. We believe that a great garden isn't bought, it's built. Before we pick up a single peel, we have to look at the chemistry. We've been told to focus on nitrogen, the green maker, but nitrogen only builds the factory, the leaves. If you want the product, the flowers and the fruit, you need potassium and magnesium. In the gardening world, we call this the transition from the vegetative stage to the reproductive stage. This is where most gardeners fail. They keep feeding nitrogen, the plant keeps getting taller and greener, but the harvest never comes. A dry banana peel is roughly 40% potassium by weight. That is higher than almost any organic compost you can buy. It also contains significant amounts of manganese, which aids in photosynthesis, and calcium, which prevents blossom end rot. But there's a problem. If you just bury a peel, you're waiting months for biology to break it down. Your plant is hungry right now. Today, we are bridging the gap between slow-release biology and instant access chemistry. Method 1 is about building your soil's long-term bank account. This is for your perennials, your lavender, your fruit trees, and your berry bushes. These are plants that don't just need a quick meal, they need a sustained environment of mineral wealth. Step 1 is the dehydration. Never, under any circumstances, put wet, fresh peels directly against the roots of a young plant. Why? It invites vinegar flies, gnats, and anaerobic bacteria. When a peel rots in a low-oxygen environment, it produces alcohols and acids that can actually burn the fine root hairs of your plants. To avoid this, we use the sun curing method. You want to sun-dry or low-oven dry your peels until they are dark, brittle, and snap like a cracker. Step 2 is the pulverization. This is the secret to surface area. If you bury a whole peel, the microbes can only attack it from the edges. By grinding these into a fine powder, you increase the surface area by 1,000%. You are essentially pre-digesting the food for your soil life. When you apply this, don't just sprinkle it on top. Apply 2 tablespoons per plant every 3 weeks, worked into the top inch of soil at the drip line. This creates a steady drip of minerals that leaches down every time you water. But as powerful as the powder is, it isn't what gives you that 7-day miracle. For that, we have to move into the lab. We need the liquid. This liquid gold method is the reason this video exists. The common mistake most people make is putting a peel in a jar of cold water for 2 days and calling it tea. If you've done this, you've noticed the water gets cloudy and smells like fermented trash. That isn't plant food. That's a bacterial soup that hasn't unlocked the minerals. Potassium is locked inside the cellular walls of the peel. Cold water isn't strong enough to break those walls. The Evergreen method involves 2 specific stages of extraction. First, the heat catalyst. We use a decoction process. By simmering the peels in rainwater for 20 minutes, we use thermal energy to rupture those cellular walls. This forces the potassium, magnesium, and sulfur into the water instantly. You'll see the water turn a deep, rich mahogany color. That is the visual proof of mineral density. Second, we use the mineral lock. Once the liquid is cooled, we add 1 teaspoon of blackstrap molasses per gallon. This isn't for the plant, it's for the soil. The sugar provides a massive carbon spike that feeds the native mycorrhizal fungi. This ensures that the moment the potassium hits the dirt,
The biology is awake and ready to transport it to the roots.
Now let's talk about application, because dilution is where the science meets the art. This is a powerful concentrate. You must use 1 part gold tea to 5 parts rainwater. If the solution is too dark, you risk a salt imbalance in the soil. We are looking for a color that resembles a weak amber tea, translucent, not opaque. You'll start to see the results in about a week. On roses, the buds will look turgid and bright. On tomatoes, the flower drop will stop. If you've ever had a tomato plant that grows beautiful flowers only for them to turn yellow and fall off, that is a potassium and calcium cry for help. This tea is the answer. However, we must talk about the exceptions. Not every plant wants this level of luxury. Your heavy feeders, tomatoes, peppers, roses, and hibiscus will thrive on this weekly. But your Mediterranean herbs, like lavender, rosemary, and thyme, prefer lean soil. They find this too rich, and it can actually dilute the essential oils that give them their flavor. If you see your tomato leaves curling slightly at the edges, that's your plant telling you it's full. It's the highest compliment a gardener can get, a plant that has more nutrients than it knows what to do with. As we move through the season, you'll notice that your soil structure begins to change. The organic matter from the dry powder and the microbial stimulation from the tea create a living soil. This is the Evergreen philosophy. We aren't just feeding a plant for a day. We are building an ecosystem that lasts for years. When you start seeing your garden not as a hobby that costs money, but as a closed-loop system that produces its own fuel, your entire perspective changes. You stop being a consumer of garden center products and start being a steward of the land. You realize that nature doesn't have a trash problem, it only has a resource problem. This season, I want to challenge you. Don't take my word for it. Try this on just one plant. Pick your weakest, most struggling rosebush or pepper plant. Use the dual extraction method for 3 weeks. Compare it to the rest of your garden. See the difference in the stem thickness, the vibrancy of the petals, and the weight of the fruit. If this video gave you one aha moment, or if it changed the way you look at your kitchen scraps, hit that subscribe
Every
button.
share and every like tells the algorithm that science-based sustainable gardening matters. And I want to hear from you. We are building a community of soil-first thinkers here. What is the one waste item in your kitchen you've always wondered about? Eggshells? Orange peels? Coffee grounds? Drop your questions in the comments below. I read every single one, and your curiosity might be the focus of our next deep dive masterclass. Remember, you don't need a massive budget to have a massive harvest. You just need to understand the language of your plants. Build good soil, and everything else follows. I'm your host for Evergreen Garden, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, keep growing.